Hey guys, PB here from the Home Automation Project. Today we are going to talk about the Eufy Video Doorbell. This is the Video Doorbell 2K. Now, right off the bat, I will tell you that this is not the best video camera for you to integrate with Home Assistant or any kind of smart home system, because this doesn't support RDSP, which is kind of a deal breaker. But some intelligent folks have figured out in the Home Assistant community how to integrate this through a wrapper add-on and through some custom WebRTC components. So I'm going to walk you through that. I would definitely recommend Reolink Video Doorbell, for example, or maybe an Amcrest one, which has RTSP support or right out of the box to be an easy integration. However, if there are people like me who are stuck with this video doorbell, then definitely this is the video you would want to see. Also, the fact that I think the human detection, the battery life, etc. are excellent in this doorbell. So apart from the only problem around it not supporting RTSP, I think this is actually a very perfect video doorbell to have. So in case you're one of those guys who are stuck with this video doorbell but also want automation and integration with Home Assistant, this video is for you. This video is going to be kind of long and detailed, but I wanted to capture all the possibilities of Home Assistant automation that you can do with this doorbell, and I want to set up your smart home in a perfect manner. Hence, I am going to encapsulate all of that in this video today. Do bear with me, and in case you need to jump to specific sections, if you're only interested, for example, in dashboard live streaming of the camera, or if you're only interested in mobile notifications, you can definitely skip to those chapters. However, I would personally recommend you to go through the entire video because it could reveal some things which you are not aware of. One last thing, I'm adding a pro tip at the very end of this video where you are going to see how you can pop up a live stream from any camera on your dashboard. I'm taking this as an example for this video. However, I feel that you can use that method for any other camera, including any of your PoE cameras or any of your other doorbell cameras, to pop up a live stream on the dashboard or in your tab if you have them set up in your Home Assistant network. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your Eufy video doorbell in your Home Assistant instance, and also how to show the video from the doorbell on the Home Assistant dashboard using a custom WebRTC camera card, as well as trigger live video stream whenever there's a person detection that happens in the doorbell. Let's get started. First thing you need to do is you need to install a bunch of add-ons for this integration to work. The most important add-on is a third-party add-on. To install the Eufy Security WS add-on, let's go to settings and then add-ons and go to add-on store, and then you need to go here where the three dots are and click on repositories, and here you will need to add the link to the repository. So this is called a HACS Eufy Security WS, and this kind of acts as a web server to relay the notifications that the Eufy doorbell sends to the Eufy server. You will see that you need to configure it with your logon credentials. Once you have pasted the URL here, enter the URL here, click on add and wait for it to get added. So as you can see, this has got added. Now hit close and you should see this get added on your on this page. Search for the add-on, and this is the one which we just added. So click on install and wait for the installation to complete. It should take a few seconds to install. Okay, so once this add-on is installed, you need to set up the configuration details before you start the server. So to enter the configuration details, the primary thing you need to enter is your username and password from your Eufy application. I'm assuming that you have already installed the Eufy mobile app on your mobile and you're accessing your doorbell and your home base from the Eufy mobile app. Now the suggestion here is that you should not use your primary account, which is the username and password that you're using currently on your mobile app, because once you log into this account, it logs you out of all active sessions, which will probably log you out of your mobile application as well. So to set this up in using Home Assistant, I would suggest you create a secondary account. So I'll show you in the next steps how you can use your mobile app to create secondary account. So once you create a secondary account, you need to activate that secondary account by logging in and sign into your mobile app with that secondary account, and do double check that all the notifications and camera options are switched on with the secondary account. Then you can come here and continue with the configuration. So let's look at the steps required in your existing Eufy mobile app. Okay, so on your mobile app, go to the control center option in the menu, and then go to share management, and then you can choose the option of share home, share device. If you want to share both the Eufy home base as well as your doorbell, you can use the share home option. I prefer to do that. And here you click on the option which shows your devices, and then you can go here and add new resident. You can click on add new resident. I've already done that option, but just to show you what you can do is, next you can enter a second email which you can use as your login username for the secondary account, and click on invite. Before you come out of this app, there's one more step. You need to go to your home base, and then you go down to the general section and go to about device, and then make a copy of this value in the serial number which says against this home base. Create a copy of this, and also make a note of the serial number and the IP address of your home base. We are going to use this in the configuration of the Eufy security add-on that we just installed in mail first. And select the country, and you need to put a password in, just like your primary account for setting up this account in the Eufy app. So let's go ahead and do that. Eufy app is going to ask you to verify your email. So after you do that step, you should be able to log into the app. You have logged in successfully. It's going to pop up the message that you have been invited. This will be the invitation that we did from the primary account. So click yes. As you can see, our home has already been shared. So let's go ahead and click next, and yeah, we have the camera and the home base shared here, so you can check that the notifications are set up. Now that we have completed the login with the secondary account in the mobile app, we can go ahead and set up this configuration. So enter the username as a login email of your Eufy mobile app which we just set up. So let me enter that. Then select the country code. You need to be very careful while selecting this country code. This should match exactly the selection of the country that you have in the Eufy app. Then leave these other options in the default state. The last thing that you need to add here is the details of the station, which is your Eufy home base. This will be the serial number and the IP address of your Eufy home base that we saw in the mobile app. So let me enter them here. Okay, so now I have entered the serial number and the IP address, and we can go ahead and hit save, and then go to the first page, and you can optionally select this option, these options, and then hit start. Okay, so the add-on has been successfully set up. So the add-ons are all set up now. The next thing we need to do is we need to go to HACS and install 2 custom integrations. So let's go to HACS, go to integrations and explore, and the first thing that you need to install here, Eufy security. Yeah, this one, Eufy security. Yeah, hit download and just go with the highest stable version that we have here, and click download and wait for the installation to get completed. Okay, so the installation is completed. Now we need to restart this Home Assistant instance. So let's go ahead and restart. So go to settings, click on 3 dots, restart Home Assistant, and restart. Okay, now the Home Assistant installation has restarted. Now you can go to settings, devices and services. Integration that we need to add here is for the Eufy security. So search for Eufy and you should see this option, Eufy security, and click on this one. So leave the default options here and hit submit, and the configuration is done. So it found the doorbell as well as the home base. So just assign an area if you want to, it's optional. I will give these some areas and hit finish. So here you can see the Eufy security has got installed, and it has detected 2 devices, doorbell and the home base. And you can, if you click on the doorbell, you will see that it has detected the device correctly. Okay, so the last step that we need to do here is to set up an automation so that a notification is triggered whenever a person is detected, and we will trigger a notification to mobile with the options to trigger an alarm from the notification. So to do that step, let's go to settings, automations and scenes, create new automation, and create new automation. Now there are a few steps to add in here, but the quickest way for me to add it is I'm going to add it through the YAML option, and then I'm going to walk you through each of the steps of the automation. Right, so the steps that we're doing here is we are giving it 3 types of triggers. The default trigger is going to be when there is a motion detected or person detected. So I've got given 2 conditions. If your motion detection is not to the mark, up to the mark, then you might just want to use the person detection trigger here. When this happens, it switches on and it then looks for the conditions, and if the condition is motion detected, then it's going to give a delay of 3 seconds, and then it is going to notify your app that a motion has been detected, and it's going to send this standard image which the doorbell captures, along with 2 action buttons on that actionable notification. One is the option to alarm, trigger the alarm, and one is the option to snooze the alarm, and the remaining 2 actions based on these 2 triggers from these 2 actions. So if you click the alarm option, then it is going to trigger the alarm, camera alarm through Eufy security, and to trigger the alarm associated with this Eufy security instance, and if you hit snooze, then it is going to pause the alarm for 10 seconds. So that's the high level is the setup here, and just go ahead and hit rename. If we have a look at this from the visual editor, it might be a bit easier to understand. So there are these 3 triggers, and there are 3 actions that can happen based on which trigger has been instantiated, and any one of these 3 actions can take place depending on the trigger that has initiated this event. So next step, let's trigger the Eufy doorbell, and let's check if this automation works correctly. So I have my mobile phone connected, and also my camera switched on. So let me turn the camera towards me to trigger this automation, and let's see how the notification is going to look like on my phone. So here we go. I'm turning the camera towards me, and as you can see, the notification has been triggered, automation has been triggered, and the notification has been sent. So let's see. Yeah, there is a thumbnail in the notification. So as you can see in the notification, we have got the thumbnail and the 2 action buttons, the alarm and snooze. The alarm button, if you click on this, should be able to trigger the alarm, and snooze button will snooze the alarm if it has already been triggered. So now we have done the setup integration. We are able to trigger a notification to mobile with a screenshot. So in the next steps, I'm going to show you how to take this to the next level by popping up a live stream window on your dashboard whenever a person is detected in the camera stream. So you can practical uses of this could be that if you have set up your dashboard as a tab, say in your living room area or in your bedroom, and whenever a person comes in front of your doorbell, not only does it generate a notification and also potentially trigger some kind of chime, you can also make the dashboard automatically pop up the live view from the camera, and this should tell you immediately who is at the door. So this is an immense utility in your day-to-day setup. So let's go ahead and look at this pro option. So we need to install a few add-ons and HACS integrations to do the next steps, and we'll also set up few automations to help us stream the visual from the video from the Eufy Doorbell onto a dashboard card. So to do that, first add-on that we need to install is called WebRTC add-on, which helps to convert the RTSP stream from the Eufy Doorbell into a WebRTC stream, which is much better suited for displaying streaming the video on your dashboard. So go to add-on store and click on the three dots and click on repositories, and here you need to search for a custom repository, which is this, and then click on add. Once the repository is added, refresh the page and it should appear here. So you can see here the add-ons repository. Just use the one which says go to RTC, click on that and click on install. Give it a few minutes to install. Okay, so now the add-on has installed. Then select the options. Don't need to select the show sidebar because we won't be using the UI much here, and then you can click on start. You don't need to change any configuration. As you can see, the add-on has started. Next thing, we need to go to HACS and we need to search for an integration called WebRTC camera. There will be two options displayed here. Choose the option which shows you this page where you have these lines which talk about a custom card, because we will be using this custom card to stream the camera on the dashboard. So once I've selected this, click on download and let the download complete. Okay, so download is completed. So as you can see, we need to restart the Home Assistant. So let me restart. We'll come back and do the next steps. Okay, so now the Home Assistant has restarted. Go to settings, devices and services, and we need to add the integration into Home Assistant devices and services. Search for WebRTC camera, and this is the one which we downloaded. Click on it, and yeah, it should select the default path, and the default path selected here should be good enough. So click on submit and finish. So now what this does is it doesn't show any devices here. We go to this integration, but what it will do is it will set up the service as well as it adds a custom card to your dashboard, which we can use in the next steps. So once you've done that, it is time to set up a few automations for us to start and stop the camera stream whenever motion is detected. Once we have set up that automation, we will then set up the card. So to do that, let's go to settings, automations and scenes, click create new automation, and let's go ahead and let me go ahead and set up the automation. Then I'm going to walk you through the steps of the automation. Okay, so now I'll set up the automation. It's a very simple automation which says which detects whether the doorbell detects a person. So I've set up doorbell person detecting motion, starts detecting motion. Then we call a service to turn on the camera, and then I'm adding here a delay for 2 seconds. The delay, from my experience, I found that the camera stream, when I turn it on, the actual streaming takes a few seconds to start, and because of this, if I try to view the card immediately, it creates an error, a temporary error, which you need to clear before you can start seeing the stream. To avoid the delay in load and to avoid that temporary error that pops up, I found that adding a delay of 1 to 2 seconds takes care of it. So that's what I've done here. It may be the case that in your system, Home Assistant, you might not experience any delay, in which case this is an optional step which you can disable. So now we have this automation which automatically turns on the camera. But one thing to keep in mind is we also need to switch off the stream, because our stream will stay on even after the detection has stopped. It's a random thing that I've seen happen in the Eufy Doorbell. Most of the time it works. It turns the stream off on its own, but sometimes I've seen that the stream stays on, especially if your doorbell is running on battery. I think it's a something you would not want to happen. So probably it's best to turn off the stream whenever the motion detection has stopped. So to do that, I'm going to add a second automation which checks for motion detection as stopped and then turns off the camera. It's a very simple automation, so let's set that up. Okay, so I have now set up the automation which detects that the person detection has stopped and it turns the camera off. So once we have set these two up, we can now set up the card on the dashboard, and then we will trigger the stream, the camera, to see how the streaming looks like on the dashboard. Let's go to my dashboard and click on edit and then add card, and then I'm going to add a manual card here because we are going to use a custom card. So this is the option, and here I'm going to type in a few lines, and again I'm going to explain to you what those lines mean. Okay, so this is the card that I have built here. So the type is a custom WebRTC camera, which is from the HACS component that we just installed. The entity is the doorbell entity. UI true is just to say that make it that the UI is shows up. So you have got these values here where you can capture, increase, full screen the stream, you can save a snapshot, etc. So that's what this does. And next I've added two small shortcuts here, the play button and the stop button. So this is another thing that I find pretty useful. Sometimes when the streaming starts, you might actually want to stop the streaming by clicking on this button instead of waiting for it to automatically stop after some time. So that is what this button does. And and this play button could be used if you want to view the doorbell stream without any person detection. So as you saw, the automation we have set up is for person detection, but if you want to view the stream just at any point of time, you can use this play and the stop button as well. So this card kind of doubles up for two things: one for automatically triggering and showing the stream when person is detected, but also for triggering the stream at any point of time to see the doorbell view. So once we have set this card up, hit save and then hit done, and that's your card. So card is set up for now. Don't worry about the temporary error message that it shows. There is probably a small UI modification on the card we can do to hide this message. It's always going to be there because when the stream is not playing, it tries to access the image from the stream which it can't find, but as soon as we trigger the stream, this will go away. So yeah, let's give it a try. First, without a person detection, let's try to switch on the stream and see that the camera is streaming correctly, and then we will trigger with the person detection as well. Okay, so now let's hit the play button and see if the camera stream loads. As you can see, yeah, the camera stream is loaded, and you can see the output. Let's hit stop, and that should stop the stream. Now let's do the same thing, but let's trigger it through the automation. So for that we need a person detection to happen. So let me turn the camera towards me, and then we'll see this starting automatically within few seconds. So let me slowly turn camera towards me. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, it has started detecting automatically, and I'm now going to turn the camera away, and that should stop detecting me and it should stop the stream. There we go, I've turned it away, and let's give it a few seconds for the second automation to take place where it stops the camera. And there you go. So our automation is working perfectly fine. If you want to improve this a little bit more, what we can do is we can make this card as a conditional card, and if we make this card conditional, what will happen is the card won't show up unless there is a person detection happens, and as soon as a person detection happens, then the card shows up and the streaming starts, and as soon as the person detection stops, or you stop it or stop using the stop button, the card becomes hidden. This is a variation of the same thing, but this might be useful for your dashboard in certain scenarios. So let's go ahead and do that as well. Okay, so to add the conditional card, what we are going to do, we are going to edit this card, click on edit, and then copy this logic here and cancel, and then I'm going to delete this card, and I'm going to add a conditional card. So search for conditional, and yeah, and for the condition I'm going to add a entity state, and the entity will be the doorbell, and the state is equal to streaming. So we want the card to show whenever the doorbell is streaming. And now we can switch to the code editor. Yeah, and here we can remove these braces and put in a tab, and then put in the same details that we had in the previous card. Just align the indentation, and that should be it. So now we have the same card with the same details and same button, except that it is now conditional and will only show up when the camera streams. And as per our automation, the camera is going to stream only when the person is detected. So that should do the trick. So again, the card has now become hidden. So let me turn the camera towards me and let's see how it works. Anytime now, yeah, the feed has come through and it should start. So as you can see, there's an error which is getting shown here. It's a temporary error. If you either refresh the dashboard or if you click anywhere on the card, the stream still works. So to avoid that temporary error, in my experience, as I explained before, best thing is to add a bit of a delay so that this issue doesn't happen. So let me show you how we can do that. Let me stop the stream from the camera. I'm going to turn it around again. Now to get rid of the temporary error which we saw, the best option I've seen is to add a delay, as I mentioned before. So to add the delay, we need to create a helper, which is an input boolean. So let's go to settings, devices and services, and go to helpers, and then create a helper, which in our case is going to be input toggle, and I'm going to name it, let's say, doorbell viewing, and I'm going to give icon and then create. So now I'm going to write two small automations. One is to, whenever the streaming starts, after a delay of around a minute or two, I'm going to set this value to on, and whenever the streaming stops, I'm going to set this value to off, and then I'm going to update the condition on the condition cards to use this variable value. So that means that there is a delay of 1 to 2 seconds added when the camera switches on to when the actual streaming, we try to do the streaming on the card. So let's go ahead and add an automation for this. Create the automation and add the trigger as entity state of doorbell is changes to streaming and stays for 2 seconds. Then we are going to add the action of input boolean turn on, and the entity that we just created is doorbell viewing. Yeah, so we're going to save this. Let me call it Eufy Doorbell viewing on. Save, and I'm going to now duplicate this, and here I'm going to check for changing to idle, and I'm going to remove the timer on this because I want it to switch off immediately. And here, instead of turning it on, I'm going to turn it off, and this is the entity. Then hit save and call it doorbell viewing off. Hit save. There you go. So we have the two automations now. Now let's go back to our dashboard and edit, and here the condition, instead of the doorbell entity, we are going to use the helper entity which we just created. Doorbell viewing state is equal to on, and hit save, and then done. Right, so let's give it a go again. Let me turn the camera towards me, and let's see if this time we can stream without an error. Yeah, the camera towards me, and any second now, and as you can see, it's working fine. And if I turn the camera away from me like so, and give it a few seconds, it should stop, and the card is hidden. There you go. So now we have done two types of card on the dashboard. One is to show the card always, but the streaming stops. Another option is to display the card, a hidden card, and make it appear whenever the streaming happens. For most cases, these two will be sufficient. However, there is a third pro way of displaying a camera stream on your dashboard, and that third method is pretty useful, especially if you are having a tab where you have set up your dashboard, and if you want the stream to come up on the entire window of the tab instead of a very small card on the dashboard, because your viewing area on a tab is pretty small. So to do that, there are a couple more steps that we need to do. We need to first install an integration called Browser Mod, and once we install that integration, that is a wonderful integration, by the way, and you should definitely check it out, and it has a lot of powerful stuff. But one of the most interesting thing that it does is it allows your browser to be a device in itself. And you can also make your tab, for example, if you have multiple tabs, you can identify each of the tabs as independent devices, and you can target this. You can set open windows and pop-up windows on each of these targets devices as targets separately, so you can control that which of these devices actually shows the pop-up window, and it doesn't need to come up on every dashboard in your home. So it's pretty useful thing. So let's go ahead and see how that automation can be set up. There are a few more steps around that. So first we'll install the Browser Mod HACS integration. Then we are going to register this browser here as a target, and then we are going to update the automation that we created earlier to stream to the card. We're going to update it to open up a pop-up window on the dashboard. Okay, so the first step would be go to HACS integrations, click on explore and download repositories, and search for browser mod, browser_mod. This is the integration. So click on this and then click download, and download the stable version and let it install. Should take a couple of, yeah, it's done. So we need to restart the Home Assistant as usual, so let's do that, and then we are going to continue from there. Okay, so now the Home Assistant has restarted. Let's go to Devices and Services, then click on Add Integration, search for Browser Mod, and click on Finish. So when this integration gets installed, you will see this Browser Mod option on the left. So to register every device that you want to register, you need to log into the Home Assistant instance of that device, and then click on this on the left hand side, and then you can simply say register. You can give this is like a default device ID that gets added. You can change it to a meaningful name. In my case, I'm going to name it, let's say, Safari, and I'm going to once I toggle this, it will register this device. So let's do that. So, and once the register happens, you will see the entry for this device show up here. And there are two toggles that you can use here. Auto register, if you switch this on anywhere where you install Home Assistant, all those devices start getting registered automatically. But bear in mind, if you switch this on, they get registered by some default ID kind of thing, and it is a pain to rename all of them. So I tend to keep this off, and only when I'm registering I register them manually so that I can name them to meaningful names. And the other option is lock register. So if you don't want any device to be you want to protect the registered device and don't want new devices to be registered by anybody who uses your Home Assistant instance, then you can lock the register as well. Okay, so I guess this device has been registered. One of the things that there are two things you need to do. One is you need to clear the cache of the browser if your browser mod starts acting weird or doesn't work correctly. And the other thing is, whenever you do any kind of registration or device management changes, you need to refresh the browser as well before the changes take effect. So let's reload this page. Okay, and as you can see, it has registered, but yeah, and it has locked the register. And the other thing is, I tend to lock this, press this lock icon here. So what that means is that it doesn't, sometimes it may, if you close the browser window and open it again, it might sometimes detect it as a new device and it might give another ID to it. So to prevent that, I generally lock this in so that every time it detects this browser, I'll name it as iMac-Safari, and then there's no change to the name. Finally, if you want to remove this registration and want to probably rename it, or don't want this registration anymore, you can always use the delete button here. And in the same way, if you add more devices, the list appears here. So this is the configuration, which is precursor. Now that we know that this browser is addressed by this device ID, which is iMac-Safari, so I can set up the automation to pop up a browser window on this browser and to show the camera stream. So to do that, let's go to settings, automations and scenes, and let me open up our main automation that we had set up earlier, which is this view front of camera and person detection. And let me switch to YAML. So one thing is, it is a kind of a custom integration browser mod, so you will need to use the code, add any code around a browser mod through the YAML interface. You cannot do it through the UI, unfortunately, but it is pretty self-explanatory. So let me go ahead and paste the code, and then I can walk you through it. Okay, so now I've added this code here, which says that after camera is turned on, so whenever this automation is detected, person is detected on the camera, it turns it on, waits for a few seconds just to avoid the temporary error which we saw earlier, and then it pops up a browser window, which is a dismissible window, which means you can you have a close option. It is it doesn't close on its own, but I have put a timeout which will make it close after 30 seconds. It will display, and displays full screen, and then the content is the custom WebRTC camera card with the camera doorbell. And I have given the MSC option as false. It seems to work well with these default options. And the browser ID, which is the most important thing, is the ID we registered, which is iMac-Safari. There are a few more customization you can do around this card. For example, like you can look up the browser mode customizations options. I think one key example is you can add an aspect ratio to size the camera window. You can look up the documentation for more such deals. For this automation, I'm going to keep it just a basic pop-up window. And now let's see this in action. So to do that, I've already saved this automation. So let me go to the dashboard again, and I'm going to turn the camera towards me now, and let's see if the browser window pops up. Okay, I've turned the camera towards me, so person detection should have triggered, or will trigger in a few seconds. And there you see, so the camera has displayed the stream. Yeah, as you can see, let's stop the streaming, and hopefully this helps you to set up your Eufy Doorbell in the way you want. So that will be all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have not seen my previous video around how to set up a free local NVR using FreeGate, I will leave a link to that in somewhere on the screen so that you can go and check that out. In future, I'm going to bring more such exciting videos on how you can do AI person detection, how you can do plate recognition, face recognition, and more such advanced features. As well as I'm going to talk about something called Blue Iris, which is my personal choice for NVR. And so do stick around for more such exciting videos on this topic. And if you have not subscribed, do subscribe so that you get a notification when I launch further such videos. And in the meantime, stay safe and stay connected.